Now, the information and communication technology has become essential to the operations of government, corporate institutions, obviously, and individuals. But the benefits accruing from the growing access is being undermined by miscreants who are exploiting its capabilities to the detriment of others. How often haven't we heard somebody, carrying themselves wrongly, either on the internet, promising marriage, taking monies from people? We've heard about the credit card fraud as well. So what's the bigger plan? What is government doing to protect our cyberspace? What's our country's laws on cyberspace? Are we able to prosecute cybercrime? What's government's achievement so far? That's why we're being joined this morning by a Deputy Communications Minister, Vincent Soa Odute. He's in charge of cybersecurity. Good morning to you. Thank you for your time.
Good morning.
Let me also say that this is actually a National Cybersecurity Month.
Yes.
Okay. Why is cybersecurity so important to us?
Thank you very much. My greetings to your viewers, especially those from my constituent, the Ladade Kotopom constituency. I said hi, good morning. Cybersecurity is extremely important because, as someone rightly put it, as we speak, there's no human endeavor that does not involve any communication equipment, or there's nothing we can do that does not involve working on networks. We have come where every aspect of our lives is dominated, is driven, and is actually enabled by the use of technology. We cannot educate ourselves with technology. We cannot communicate our social lives, our economic lives. Everything is dominated by technology. As you said in your introduction, it has huge benefits. We cannot live without technology. Imagine if the internet goes down. Imagine you cannot communicate on WhatsApp, the social network. Imagine what it would take now. Even when you have to apply for jobs, you do it online. You are held now, this administration of health online. So we cannot live without technology. Technology permeates everything that we do.
Absolutely.
But it's important we realize that this technology advancement has created a whole world apart from the physical world in which we live, we call cyberspace. And in cyberspace, there are threats. There are threats to the economic, to the equipment that we use, the electronic gadgets that we use. There are threats to the systems, the apps, the software, the networks that are used to ensure that we are able to get good out of technology. There are threats to the data. When you go out there, you apply online, your subscription data, the content of the data that you send, and the data that the traffic data. There are threats to that. You must be very careful when you do that. And there are threats to our children who go online now. They have access to the internet. They go online to do their homework, but they have access to undesirable websites as well. So this is why it is important that we secure this, what we call the cyber ecosystem, to ensure that the public will feel safe to use the internet and enjoy technology, to ensure that the internet will provide a platform that people can use for innovation, to bring solutions to the human problems, and to ensure also that the privacy and the freedoms of individuals are protected. Okay. That is why we need cybersecurity.
So I was just coming to, it's good you touched on that. How sure am I that whatever I'm doing on my private WhatsApp, on my Facebook, in order for you to secure the sites or to protect me, you're not looking at what I am looking at privately?
There's a delicate balance between the public safety, and I said, and the personal freedoms. So that is why we have, apart from the laws that criminalize certain undesirable actions, we have the Data Protection Act, which ensures that your privacy is also assured, and in terms of, so that you can go on the line and have freedom. But it's also crucial for us to realize that cybersecurity is 50% starts with the individual. When you go on Facebook, there are certain things you need to do if you don't want people to see anything. There are certain things, information, you would literally, what are some of the pictures of yours that you will not share in public? You should not share it in cyberspace. So, and then there are issues on certain things you need to click on privacy that you have to ensure that you comply with. So it's a delicate balance between personal responsibility, protection by the law, and then ensuring that your personal freedom is guaranteed. Okay, it's a delicate balance.
Please help me to break it down. What's your role exactly when I am living my life on the internet, in cyberspace, if you like? What's your role as government? What are you doing?
Thank you very much. First of all, as a government, we need to ensure that we have a policy and a strategy to, one, let people, make people aware of the risks of cybersecurity. We need to ensure that we protect the critical national information infrastructure. As we speak, you are communicating via certain network. We need to make sure that we protect that network so that life can go on. We need to make sure that we protect the telecommunication network, the financial sector networks. We need to ensure that we promulgate laws that will ensure that we criminalize digital offenses. We need to ensure that we train and build capacity of the judicial system, investigators, prosecutors, and judges. So when people commit crime, the same way that previously fiscal crimes are prosecuted, we need to ensure that. We need to ensure that we protect your privacy. That's why we promulgated data protection law, which ensures that any organization, and now all organizations are what we refer to as data collectors. When you give your information to a data collector or a service provider like Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, there are ways by which they must make sure that they handle that data. There are processes and permissions that they require if they have to transmit that data to a third party. And all this must be backed by the statutory and legislation. We also, as a government, ensure that we promulgate laws to criminalize offense against children online, what we call child online protection, and to ensure that we educate our children and so that they understand what they need to do before they click.
Okay.
So this is the role. Of government. And in terms of protecting the critical national information sector, the government has to form something we call the CERT, the Computer Emergency Response Teams. These are structures that ensure that the critical national infrastructure in the physical world, like road, like bridge, is a critical national infrastructure. But in the information world, the ICT world, the telecommunication network is a critical national infrastructure. We need to put somewhere we call the NOC, Network Operating Center, where it's a center that more or less scans the whole network 24/7 in real time, so that we'll be able to deter hackers who are bent on destroying and disrupting the work that we
have that already?
Yes, we do. We have yesterday, on Monday, His Excellency the President inaugurated the NCA CERT, that's the National Communications Authority, which is a sectoral center that's looking after our telecoms. And on that same afternoon, I also inaugurated, on behalf of the President, my Minister Esla Usu-Ekufo, the directive from the Bank of Ghana for the financial sector. We are in the process of setting up a cell for the public service under National Information Technology Agency (NITA), and the other defense sector, and other security sectors that we are in the process of establishing that, so that we scan the whole network 24/7. So that it would have been really, some of your colleagues were at the Bank of Ghana one on Monday, and you could see in real time the threats that are emanating from other countries were targeting Ghana. In real time, we could see how people are trying to hack, how people are trying to, as it were, test our system to see whether there are vulnerabilities, like they can attack us. So this is the role that the government has to play.
Okay.
Yes.
Looks like we're doing quite a bit.
We are, not to cut you short, but we are really, for the past 21 months, we've really focused, and let me say here that it's all been to the leadership of His Excellency President. You see, when you look at our policies prior to coming to government, we focus on what we call digitalization, try to formalize the economy. And since we've been, for the past 21 months, we've tried to not just increase digital literacy, not just increasing access to technology and connectivity, but we've rolled out a lot of products. The national ID, the paperless system, the digital property addressing system, the mobile money interoperability. And His Excellency the President realizes that for us to reap the full benefit, how could someone living in Zabzugu, who probably want to apply for passport and goes online, he needs to make sure that his data he puts online is secured. He needs to make sure the network on which he transmits the data is secured. And if we want to, let's say, the e-services, e-government, where now you can apply for passport online, how do we make sure that the network is up and running so that somebody, necessarily the objective or trying to stem the rural to urban drive, people can remain in Tamale and apply for passport and collect his passport. You need cybersecurity. And that's where the leadership of His Excellency the President and also the Vice President. This National Cybersecurity Month was actually launched in 1st October by His Excellency the Vice President. And the climax, the weekly climax, that Monday, which started on Monday, was also launched by His Excellency the President. And then the zeal and enthusiasm of my Honorable Minister, Madam Esla Usu Ekufo, who actually has a background in telecoms and technology. So we've done that. We have also come up with we have a national policy and strategy on cybersecurity for the first time. Of course, we inherited it from the previous government, but it wasn't operationalized, and we've done that. We have what we call, as part of the institutional framework, what we call the Inter-Ministerial Advisory Council, which consists of all the various ministers that are part of critical national information infrastructure.
As in cabinet ministers?
All the cabinet ministers. Defense, finance, interior, foreign affairs, chaired by my minister. And because cybersecurity is a multi-sectorial thing. It's a multi-sectorial thing. And so we have a clear policy that is guiding us. And then also, just to finish, we were assessed, our cybersecurity maturity was assessed by the renowned Oxford group. So apart from the policy which is guiding us, the recommendations that came out of the assessment by the Oxford group is also guiding us, and that is why we are scaling up and we are ramping up awareness. We are training people, the judges. A lot of people, I'm not sure, will be interested in issues of how we fight cybercrime. For the past 18 months, with the help of the Council of Europe under the Glacy Plus program, we have trained prosecutors, investigators, and Supreme Court judges on how to collection of cyber evidence and how to prosecute cybercrime.
What's been the challenge in that area, in the area of the courts, the court system? Well,
I think that we have a lot to do in terms of trying to set what we call the cybersecurity forensics lab, digital forensic labs. I mean, the evidence you collect in the physical world is different from the evidence you collect in the digital world. So we need to build capacity up to an optimum level. We have some minimum capacity, but that's a challenge that we are also looking at. We're also looking at certain gaps. Let me say that our Criminal Code of 1960, we have the Data Protection Act, and we have the Electronics Transaction Act, and other bilateral, what we call mutual legal assistance agreements. They are substantially adequate. But because they are substantially adequate to fight cyber, but because of the evolving nature, we've detected a few gaps in our legal system. So we need capacity in terms of equipment, and we also need to keep reviewing our laws to ensure.
So I wonder why you train Supreme Court judges, because if you look at the structure, we've got the Circuit Court, the magistrates, we've got the High Courts where a lot of cases also go to. So is it going to trickle down?
Definitely. This is a very good question. Yesterday, at the Kofi Annan Center at Teshi, we were training the session training of Supreme Court judges. We've also realized that digital evidence-based knowledge must be part of the training in the law school. Yes, yesterday was discussed extensively, and part of the training at the police academy, because these understanding and understanding and comprehension of digital evidence and digital crime is become so common now, and that yesterday one of the Supreme Court judges was saying that present there's no crime that does not involve an electronic device. There's absolutely no crime, if not a mobile phone, a computer, or even an armed robber. They will communicate among themselves. So we are definitely looking at what you're looking at, so that we trickle down. But to start with, we are training the Supreme Court judges, and some of them actually to equip with special knowledge, so that they will have dedicated technology courts. And then we look at how we can expand the base, so that the whole justice system becomes digitally aware and will be equipped with the skills to be able to understand the issues about digital crime.
But irrespective of that, have we had some successes in terms of prosecution?
Oh yes, I don't have the complete data, but yesterday I was talking to a lot of judges. Yeah, those who are focused, a lot of people have been convicted for for criminal offences related to the digital and cybercrime.
Okay. Yesterday, you also did launch the child protection policy.
Yes.
Okay. What is that exactly? How are you helping us raise our children? Because we can't do away with the tablets. Every child wants a tablet now.
Definitely. Yesterday, in collaboration with UNICEF, we launched a child online protection program. That was a research which was we collaborated. The Ministry of Communications collaborated with UNICEF to look at the state of the child use of electronic equipment and the threats and the opportunity that they face online. It was a very expensive, very elaborate a report which with the respondents covering the whole 10 regions of the country.
Okay.
Children face a particular threat when they go, especially our young ladies. It is important that we let them realize, so we educate them on what we call cyber hygienic practices. So the whole essence of the report is to take a situational analysis of what we have now, and then it was based on recommendations on how to let a combination of parents, teachers, continuous education with children. We educate them on when they go on Facebook, the kind of thing they should click on, so that they make sure when they go online, the young ladies, when people want to make friends, you ask them, when you just, for example, you just walk out of, even you, if you just walk out of this building and you meet someone and say, I want to be friends with you, I'm sure you'll be taken aback. Why would you do that in digital space? Where do you live? Can I have your address? Now we have digital addresses. Would you do that? Someone said, take me a photo in a very unpleasant state. Would you do that in public? So it's important we let them understand. So the research looked at those who have been exposed to undesirable content, those who have been exposed to undesirable elicitation of friendship, those, so that they know the kind of things that they must do. And it is worth noting that in this, as I mentioned earlier, in this month of cybersecurity awareness, we targeted the SHS schools across the whole country, where we had workshops with videos. We had workshop with training material to tell them
in the secondary schools.
Yes, please. Yeah, across all the 10 regions of the country, to let them know the implications of the actions that they take, and what they shouldn't do, and how they have to be responsible and learn what we call the hygienic practices in cyberspace. So, as a country, in terms of both the policy, the direction, the prosecution, the fighting the crime itself when it happens, we are actually ramping up and scaling up our activities. And I can assure you that in the West African region, as part of our efforts to, and you see, Mami what?
Mama V.
Mama V.
Yes, sir.
It's important you realize that a safe cyber ecosystem helps our competitiveness. A few years ago, you could not do business online from a card originating from Ghana. So this is very, very important. And apart from that, on 25th of May this year, the European Union launched something called the GDPR, Global Data Protection Regulation. And as part of the requirements, very soon, any country, any company in Ghana, or any other part of the world who want to do business or partner with companies in the European Union, you must conform to data privacy regulations. If you don't do that, there are laws that allow you to do. So it's
we're getting ready to be part of
a bigger thing. And to affect our competitiveness.
Okay, absolutely. I think it's good that we know what you're doing. But finally, how do we measure all the beautiful things that you're doing? You've dedicated a whole month to cybersecurity. You're a deputy communications minister in charge of cybersecurity, which means that cybersecurity is of absolute importance to this government. How do we measure all the things that you're doing at the end of the day?
Well, first of all, the individual level will be happy to see that there's a reduction in the report of what I would have turned up avoidable when people do things which are avoidable for victims to cyber crimes. And as I said, we are looking at moving up. There are 5 levels at the moment of cyber maturity readiness. At the moment, we are at the 2nd level. We believe we are between the 2nd and the 3rd. We'll want to move up to, we have the startup, we have the formative, we have the established, we have the strategic, we have the dynamic.
And we are where? We're in between.
We are in between the formative and established.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, I would love to see us move to the dynamic level
by 2020.
Well, I hope so. The rate at which we are going, I'm sure very soon you begin to hear on international some very, very good reviews about what we are doing in Ghana here, and also to ensure that people like you and all the media houses continuously speak about cybersecurity, educate people, and also to ensure that our young people, especially the young ladies, are able to continue to explore the benefits of technology, to use the internet, and to ensure that people innovate using the internet. But at the same time, also people feel safe that Ghana is not a country that infringe on personal liberties. We're hiding behind fighting cybercrime and infringing on the freedoms of people.
Sure.
So this is how the success of our cybersecurity effort and cybersecurity program would be measured.
Okay, we will be monitoring and be watching as well, but we're also participants, so we'll be helping achieve the cause. But thank you so much for your time here, sir. Mr. Vincent Sowa Odote is a Deputy Communications Minister in charge of cybersecurity. He's also a Member of Parliament for La Dade Kotopong. He's been my guest as we've been talking about cybersecurity in our country.